Hello dear students. In today's session, we are going to discuss The Lotus by Toru Dutt. Dear friends, this is a sonnet and Toru Dutt is in fact considered one of the earliest Indian writers to write originally in English. She lived a very short life. A very interesting part of her life is that she wrote only for 4 years, केवल 4 साल, but still she is regarded as a pioneer in this field of poetry. So let's start this session. First of all, a brief background about the poet. देखिए, poet, novelist, essayist, translator and polyglot. This may be a new word to you people, polyglot. Polyglot is a person who has command over more than one language. एक ऐसा पर्सन जो एक से ज़्यादा भाषा के अंदर अपनी उसकी योग्यता हो लिखने की, पढ़ने की, that person is known as polyglot. So Toru Dutt was an outstanding pioneer in the field of Indo-Anglian literature. Dear students, in our syllabus we have poems by many Indian writers. Like we have poems by Tagore, we have poems by Sarojini Naidu, but we must understand a basic difference. Some of the poems like Where Mind is Without Fear, this poem is basically a translation. Originally it was written in Bengali language and later it was translated by Tagore himself. लेकिन इंडो एंग्लियन लिटरेचर की अगर हम बात करें, इट मीन्स इट इज़ द नेम गिवन टू द लिटरेरी वर्क्स रिटन बाय इंडियंस ओरिजिनली इन इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज. ओनली सच वर्क्स आर जनरली कंसिडर्ड टू बी द पार्ट ऑफ इंडो एंग्लियन लिटरेचर. तो ये जो दो टर्म हैं जिसको हमने हाइफन से डिवाइड कर रखा है, इंडो मीन्स रिटन बाय दूज पर्सन्स who are originally Indians. Anglo is for medium language. तो उनका जो original language है, they compose their works in English language. And Toru Dutt is considered a pioneer. You can see she lived a very short life. बहुत छोटी उम्र थी उनकी, but still she was able to have such a impact on this writing. Toru Dutt is often considered the first Indian poetess to write verses in French and in English. I have already told you she was a polyglot. Polyglot थी, एक से ज़्यादा language, because actually her family background was very rich regarding literature. She spent considerable time in Europe, especially in France and England. And that is why she has mastery over these two languages. So she wrote poems both in French and in English. In a very short span of her life, Toru Dutt achieved everlasting fame through her dazzling poetic works. देखिए, dazzling इसलिए है because when we consider her age, the poems written by her seems to be extraordinary. A writer of a mature age, we generally have assessment of the work later, but like very few writers in English, just like John Keats, Thomas Chatterton, she also wrote her poetry during her very tender young age, and that is why they are dazzling. She belonged to a prestigious aristocratic Bengali family known for its rich cultural and literary background. Her father himself was a poet of renown. Her cousin and even her brother, they also were recognized poets, and that is why she belonged to a family. देखिए, उस समय जो बंगाल था वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा एक, we can say that was the hot spot of cultural renaissance at that time. बहुत सारे आइडियाज़, बहुत सारे सोशल रिफॉर्मर्स लाइक राजा राम मोहन राय, many even Britishers sat there, many good schools, और जो affluent families थी, rich families थी, they were able to send their children, young children to England, to Europe, और वहाँ उनकी जो education थी उसकी वजह से there was a mixing, a harmony of Eastern and Western ideas. And Toru Dutt is a perfect example of such blending of our Eastern ideas and Western education. Her formative years वो period जब एक person सब अपने आसपास के environment को observe करता है, learn from that environment, education and a very impressionable mind. They were spent in France, Italy and England, and ये जो cumulative experience था, collected experience था, it resulted in our command over many European languages. Once again हम वो word याद कर लेते हैं, polyglot. बहुत सारी जो European languages थी, she was able to learn them, and still when she chose to write, she picked Indian subject matter and themes for her poetry. This is what distinguishes her. देखिए जो उनका मीडियम था, जो उनका लैंग्वेज था, that was either French or English. ओके, बट इस मीडियम के अंदर जो सब्जेक्ट मैटर था वो था इंडियन मैथोलॉजी, इंडियन कल्चरल थिंग्स, her surroundings, her basically her childhood memories. These are the topics, these are the subjects जिन पर उन्होंने अपनी poems compose की है. The only work that appeared during Toru's lifetime was A Sheaf Gleaned in French Fields. It is a collection of English translations of French poetry. This poetry, French poetry, originally written by French poets, and she translated them into English. Now just imagine an Indian translating French poems in English language. You can now understand the genius. Okay, उनका जो सबसे popular work है Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan. ये work comprising Toru's original poems which she wrote herself, and many poems are written on famous character of Indian mythology and tradition like Sita. There is a poem on Lakshman and so on. There are so many poems on these very well known characters from Indian mythology, Indian legends, Indian we can say epics, okay? And also along with these there are poetic adaptations from Sanskrit literature and Bengali tales. It was published quite late after her death in 1882. It is because of this particular work that we still remember Toru Dutt. Coming to the poem The Lotus, it is a I have already told you it is a sonnet, and we will discuss what is the sonnet form later. Let's first study this poem and try to understand what the poet is trying to say. Love came to Flora asking for a flower that would be of flowers be undisputed queen. The lily and the rose long had been rivals for that high honor. Birds of power had sung their claims. The rose can never tar like the pale lily with her Juno mien. But is the lily lovelier? Thus between flower factions rang the strife in Psyche's bar. Okay friends, in this poem Toru Dutt proposes a sort of myth. Okay, it's a beautiful term. What is a myth? Myth is a kind of story or legend or half story, half legend, half history. It's something which is a part of tradition of a country, of a civilization, which is basically handed generation after generation either in written form or in oral form. तो जो मिथ होती है, जैसे हम अगर हमारे इंडिया की बात करें, एंड इट इज़ फॉर्चुनेट फॉर संस्कृत स्टूडेंट दैट दे नो सो मच अबाउट आवर कल्चरल हेरिटेज। हमारे संस्कृत के अंदर, साहित्य के अंदर, हमारे लोक साहित्य के अंदर वी कम अक्रॉस, हम पाते हैं बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स मिथ के। एग्जाम्पल्स जैसे बहुत सारे किंग्स की, बहुत सारे देवताओं की जो कहानियाँ हैं, अमृत मंथन की कहानी है, एंड सो मैनी देर आर डाइवर्स स्टोरी। और इतना बड़ा हमारा कंट्री है, यू गो टू ईस्ट साइड यू हैव डिफरेंट मिथ्स, साउथ में जाएंगे तो अलग मिथ्स आपको मिलती है। इवन single god is attributed to various myths at different places. रावण को अगर हम लें, साउथ में आप देखेंगे रावण से रिलेटेड अलग मिथ्स मिलेंगी। हम अगर अपने वेस्ट साइड आएंगे तो अलग मिथ मिलेंगी, ईस्ट साइड जाएंगे तो इवन अगर जो उस समय का इंडिया हुआ करता था, वृहत भारत जिसे हम बोलते हैं, यू कैन गो टू इंडोनेशिया, थाईलैंड एंड कंबोडिया. Even there you will find different stories connected with these Indian tales and legends. अब what Toru Dutt has done in this poem, उन्होंने, she has made a story out of nothing. Basically she want to show the quality, the supremacy of Indian tradition. और उसके लिए वो क्या करती हैं, शो करती हैं कि there is राइवलरी का एग्जैक्ट यहाँ मीनिंग हम ले सकते हैं प्रतिद्वंदिता. देयर इज अ राइवलरी गोइंग ऑन बिटवीन फ्लावर्स, स्पेशली बिटवीन रोज, गुलाब एंड लिली. इन दोनों फ्लावर्स के बीच में एक प्रतिद्वंदिता, एक कंपटीशन चल रहा है टू क्लेम द क्राउन ऑफ बीइंग क्वीनलीस्ट फ्लावर. ओके, लेकिन उससे पहले बैकग्राउंड किस तरह से बनाया है? लव, दैट इज गॉडेस ऑफ लव came to Flora. Now remember one thing, dear students, whenever we have a capital letter in the mid of a line, okay, then it means that particular thing is personified. ये personification का एक simple rule है कि whenever we use a personification, that particular word has first letter capital. Love came to Flora. The goddess of love came to the goddess of flowers, that is named Flora, asking for a flower. There is a demand that would of flowers be undisputed queen. What is meaning of undisputed? Undisputed means about which there is no doubt or no counter claim, जिसके बारे में कोई आपस में विद्रोह ना हो, विरोध ना हो और सब मान कर चलें, without dispute. So love demands a particular flower that is the queenliest flower. Now the problem is there are two flowers, the lily, which is, you can look at this particular image, a white colored flower, and the rose. All of we know about this beautiful flower, long. So Toru Dutt has, the poet, the speaker has already told that this fight, this debate is going for a long time, had been rivals for that high honor. Okay, bards of power had sung their claims. This line is very beautiful. First, this may be a new word for you people, bards. What is the meaning of bards? Bards is a type of poet, and especially it is basically a word from Scotland. And in Scotland we use bard for royal wandering poets. Royal and they are wandering. Wandering का मतलब होता है यहाँ से वहाँ घूमने वाले, and royal का मतलब है they are always singing praises of great kings. Bards of power means very powerful poets, poets who have great power of expression, had sung their claims. Claims, इनका जो दावा था, both Lily and Rose, उनके supporters हैं. These supporters are composing poems in favor of their claims. For example, now it is in inverted comma, तो इसका जब यूज होता है तो इसका मतलब ये है कि ये स्पीकर अलग है और इन्वर्टेड कॉमा का स्पीकर अलग है. अब ये स्पीकर कौन है? These are the bards. For example, first is bards supporting Lily, and they are saying, the rose can never tower like the pale lily with her Juno mien. The first thing they point out is that lily, which is pale in color, which is yellowish or white in color, she has mean, this is a rather new word for you people, and it means appearance, how a thing look, how a thing appear. It is basically appearance. And what is this? Juno. देखिए यहाँ पर I must tell you that it is, this device is known as allusion. Allusion क्या होता है friends? Allusion means when we refer to something else, कोई और हिस्टोरिकल, मिथिकल, लिटरेरी, सोशली या इकोनॉमिकली नोन थिंग, फेमस थिंग को जब हम मेंशन करते हैं अपने वर्क के अंदर, दैट इज नोन एज एन एल्यूजन. सो जूनो इज बेसिकली एन एल्यूजन. जूनो इज नेम ऑफ अ गॉडेस. यहां पर मैं एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूं. जूनो इज द गॉडेस. वी कैन से शी इज अ गॉडेस. She is wife of Jove. Now who is Jove? Jove is king of gods. ये सारी चीज़ें हमें कहाँ मिलती है? ये सारी चीज़ें हमें मिलती है ग्रीक माइथोलॉजी के अंदर. जिस तरह से हमारे यहाँ अपनी माइथोलॉजी है, पुराण हैं, हमारी अपनी कहानियाँ हैं, उसी तरह से ग्रीक और रोमन सभ्यता की भी इसी प्रकार की बहुत सारी स्टोरीज है. तो जिस तरह से हमारे यहाँ बहुत सारे देवता हैं और इंद्र जो है देवताओं के राजा है, उसी तरह से जोव को ग्रीक की माइथोलॉजी में किंग ऑफ गॉड्स माना जाता है. और जूनो जो है, शी इज वाइफ ऑफ जोव एंड शी इज आल्सो एन एम्प्रेस एंड आल्सो अ गॉडेस. तो देखिए कंपैरिजन यहाँ एक मेटाफर की तरह यूज किया गया है दैट लिली has a sublime या भव्य appearance. She is like Juno. Her mien, her appearance is like that of a queen, that of an empress. So rose can never compare to her in this particular quality. This is the claim which is used by the supporter of the lily flower. However, on the other side, the supporters of the rose flower has their own claim. And they say, but is the lily lovelier? The rose may not have that grandness, that sublimity, but the rose is more delicate. It is more, we can say, lovely. It is more pretty. It is more good scented. So both, thus between flower factions. What is the faction? Faction का meaning होता है small groups, छोटे छोटे group which are rival, which are always arguing with each other, which do not agree with a larger group. तो उसको अपन एक factions, एक धड़ा जिसको हम कहते हैं वो बोल सकते हैं, which has dissenting voice, which do not agree with the other group or larger group. Rank the strife in Psyche's bower. Now once again a new word, Psyche. Psyche once again is we can say an allusion to Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, Psyche is goddess of soul, Atma. ठीक है. So Psyche's bower is home, or we can say large home. वहाँ पर there is, we can say, there is not peace because of this debate continuously going between these two factions, these two parties who are always fighting over this issue, that who is better, who is superior, who has better claim over that honor. In the next part, or in the last 6 lines, we have the solution. Now when love come to know about this issue, she then directs, वो address करती हैं फ्लोरा को once again, and she says, give me a flower delicious as the rose and stately as the lily in her pride. Now look at the solution suggested by love. She says, okay, if these two flowers have such claims, तो मैं कैसा flower चाहूँगी, which is as delicious as rose, which means quality rose ki and stately, grand, magnanimous, or we can say which has this sublimity as lily in her pride. So she wants, love wants mixture of both these two flowers. So Flora asks, but of what color? Please suggest the color also. Rose red. Love first chose. The first choice is that I want my flower, I want that queen to be red like a rose. Then prayed, no, lily white. Her second choice is that, oh, no, 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 don't paint it red. I want a white flower like that of lily. Or both provide, then it is her third choice. An afterthought, कुछ सोच कर वो बोलती है कि no, 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 I don't want either red or white, rather I want a flower having shade of both red and white. And Flora gave the lotus, rose red dyed and lily white. So this lotus flower, as you can see in this representative image, it has both the tint. Tint is, we can say, what is tint? Tint is a sort of shade of color. It has tint, or you can use another word, hue. It has tint or hue of both redness of rose and whiteness of lily. It has both delicacy of rose and sublimity of lily. So it is obviously undisputed queen, the queenliest flower that blows. This is how the problem is sorted out. This is how the conclusion is reached कि जो लव की डिमांड है, गॉडेस ऑफ लव डिमांड्स क्वीनलिएस्ट फ्लावर, वो खत्म होती है लोटस की बात पर. So the lotus is written in the sonnet form. Dear students, a sonnet is a poem of 14 lines through which a poet presents his or her ideas on various themes. A sonnet उन limited English poems forms में से है which has fixed structure and number of lines. बाकी जैसे ode है, lyric है और दूसरे जो forms हैं, they are free of this limitation. उनके अंदर number of lines का limitation नहीं होता है, but sonnet demands that the poem should be just of 14 lines. It has also fixed structure. Basically देखिए sonnets के दो या तीन तरह की varieties है, जिसमें से दो बहुत common है. एक सोनेट है इंग्लिश या शेक्सपियरियन सोनेट जो आपके सिलेबस की फर्स्ट पार्ट में लगता है, एंड सेकंड वन इज पेट्रार्कन और मिल्टॉनिक सोनेट. पेट्रार्कन बोला जाता है बिकॉज ओरिजिनली इट वाज दिस पोएट, रोमन पोएट पेट्रार्क, हु इंट्रोड्यूस्ड दिस फॉर्म इनटू इटालियन पोएट्री. ओके, और उसको कॉपी करते हुए इंग्लैंड के राइटर्स ने स्टार्ट करा. थोड़ा शेक्सपियर ने उसके स्ट्रक्चर के अंदर चेंज करा था. शेक्सपियर पहले सरे वाट इन लोगों ने चेंज करा था, एंड इट बिकेम वेरी पॉपुलर. दैट इज व्हाई इट केम टू बी नोन एज इंग्लिश सोनेट. ऑन द अदर एंड दूसरे राइटर्स जैसे मिल्टन जो थे, दे फॉलोड द ट्रेडिशनल स्ट्रक्चर यूज्ड बाय पेट्रार्क. तो इस वजह से इसको पेट्रार्कन या मिल्टॉनिक सोनेट भी कहते हैं. इसके स्ट्रक्चर की बात करें, इट इज डिवाइडेड इनटू टू सेक्शंस. द फर्स्ट सेक्शन is of 8 lines and it is known as an octave. In this section, the poet generally presents a problem. Okay, the second section is of 6 lines and it is known as a sestet. In this sestet part, the poet presents a solution to the problem. Sometimes अगर थोड़ा technical और बात कर लें, there is a pause between octave and sestet part, and that pause or that turn is known as volte. Volte is basically turn. अभी तक क्या चल रहा था octave part में? Problem is rising, and then sestet part presents a decline. जब हम on his blindness डिस्कस करेंगे मिल्टन का सोनेट, तब इसको बहुत ब्यूटीफुली ऑब्जर्व हम कर सकते हैं. मिल्टन वॉज वेरी टेक्निकली वेरी करेक्ट ऑल्सो. ओके, rhyme scheme of the octave part is ABBA, ABBA, while the rhyme scheme of the sestet part is CD, CD, DC. Here, यहाँ मैं आपको देखिए बताना चाहूँगा, इसका तो लगभग फिक्स होता है ऑक्टेव पार्ट का. सेस्टेट पार्ट इज वेरी फ्लेक्सिबल. The poet uses different kind of rhyme scheme in the sestet part. Sometime it is CD, CD, CD. Sometime it is CDE, CDE. And I hope you all know how to derive rhyme scheme. We look at the last word. Some actually, अगर हम technically बात करें, it is the last sound basically. But here, एक easy manner में हम कह सकते हैं. Look at the last word, flower, and we term it as A. Always we start rhyme scheme with this letter A. Then we look at the last word of the second line, queen. We can notice flower and queen. They don't have similar sounds in the end, and that is why we assign it. हम इसे देते हैं next letter, that is B. Bean. We can see the similarity between these sounds, queen, bean. So once again, for the third line, we assign the letter B. And par. Bean and par, they are not sounding similar, but flower and par. Because for flower we have used A, so for par we use once again A. Once again tar, tar के लिए वापस से क्या हो गया A. Mean, once again bean के साथ मैच करता हुआ B. Between, once again B. And bar, once again A. This is how we derive a rhyme scheme for a poem. Okay, let's see here. Rose, neither it is far nor it is between, कोई भी नहीं. So we have next letter C. Pride, new rhyme. D. Chose, rose, chose. So it is C. Provide, which is matching with pride. So once again D. Died, which is once again matching with provide D. And blows, which is matching with rose. So CD, CD, DC. This is how we derive rhyme scheme. If we talk about some general things of this poem, Toru Dutt has written this sonnet to glorify the lotus flower. In Indian mythology, the flower lotus is associated with goddess Saraswati. हम सभी ने देखा है माँ सरस्वती को लोटस फ्लावर पर विराजमान रहते हुए. And because of its high status in Indian culture, it is now a national emblem, the national flower of India. Toru Dutt has highlighted the importance of the lotus flower in the Indian culture by making a myth. This is important. This particular quality is known as myth making quality. Myth making quality. She presents a story which shows the supremacy of lotus. किस तरह से जो लोटस है वो श्रेष्ठ है among all the flowers. The goddess of love wants for herself the queen of flowers. For this she comes to Flora, the goddess of flowers, asking her about the unchallenged queen among flowers. A rivalry is going on between two flowers, the rose and the lily, for this position of glory. Both flowers have their own reason to claim the title of the queen of the flowers. Even there are poets on both sides that sing of their unique qualities to make their case strong. Thus, the supporters of the lily flowers claim that the lily has a towering personality. In her appearance, she is lofty and imposing like an empress. So this is the claim. This is the reason behind the claim for lily. The supporters of the lily equates her with Juno, who is Jove's wife. I have already told you Jove is the king of gods and she is the queen of gods, and thus suggests her natural claim to the position of esteem. Because she is like Juno, so obviously she should be the queen of flowers. On the other hand, the advocates of the rose have their own reason to champion its claim, to support its claim. The lily might have a towering appearance, but it can never match the delicacy of the rose. The supporters of the rose point out that it is the most pretty and sweet-scented flower, and thus its claim to the title of queen is more valid. In this way, the abode of Flora was full of heated debate between the two parties. A bitter conflict ensues. Begin within the Psyche's home where all the flowers reside. Psyche is the Greek goddess of soul. Looking at this dispute, the goddess of love suggests Flora to give her the flower which has the combination of qualities from both these flowers. Thus, it should have both the loveliness of the rose and the strong demeanor of the lily. Similarly, it should have color mixture of both the rose, that is red, and the lily. To fulfill all these conditions, the god of the goddess of love, Flora gifts her the lotus flower, which is slightly pink in the color and so having shades of both the rose and the lily. The okay, here it is not the lotus, it is the lotus is also both delicate and lofty, and thus the lotus is rightly chosen as the queenliest flower. The overall theme of the poem is the pride in India's culture and Hindu religion. Though Toru Dutt wrote in English, used references like Juno and Psyche, they both are basically Greek goddesses, and Bard, which is used in Scottish culture for a poet. Still, she had great belief in the superiority of Indian culture. In fact, a lotus can also be taken as a symbol. Here it is an important thing that lotus in this particular poem emerges as a symbol of perfect harmony. Through the poem, Toru Dutt offers her country and the world the rich blend of the East and the West, a balanced spirit of the old, that is the East, and the new. In the beginning of this lesson, I have already discussed this thing, that how Toru Dutt and her generation, this Bengali particular group, belongs to a nice harmony of Eastern culture and Western new ideas. So lotus, because it has both combination of different qualities. For an insight, lily is considered as the national flower of England also. So we can understand what Toru Dutt is trying to prove, that the best is when we have harmony between two different but unique ideas. Okay friends, that's all for this class. I hope you understand this poem. You can use these explanation as your notes. If you have any queries, किसी भी तरह का कोई doubt हो, किसी line, word, meaning से related, you can post it in this particular YouTube channel. Thank you dear friends.